Hey my dudes, I've been playing Souls games for a very long time, and I've seen a lot of speculation from upset PvEers as to why invaders invade. Some of them think it's vindictiveness, others think that they're just evil, some even think that maybe, just maybe, invading is kind of fun. Luckily for them, they can finally hear it from the horse's mouth. I've been invading in these games since Dark Souls 1, and more importantly, because of my shitty YouTube channel here, I've read hundreds of comments from invaders explaining why they think it's fun, so I'm gonna tell you today. Let's start with the biggest, most all-encompassing reason that people invade in Souls games, and that is adversity. I know this might sound insane to the new age PvEers from Elden Ring, but originally Souls games were about adversity. They were about difficulty, being challenged and overcoming that challenge. Yeah, sure, the bosses in the PvE are difficult, up to a certain point, but there's gonna come a time where you've played so much PvE that you just don't feel challenged anymore, or worse yet, you feel bored. That's when you're supposed to move on to the actual hardest boss in Souls games, which is other players. Usually you start off with dueling, but eventually there will come a time where that doesn't satisfy you either. It'll feel too easy, and that's what invasions are for. There's a reason they call invasions asymmetrical PvP, and that is because it is heavily rigged to one side, heavily rigged against the invader. It's probably the most difficult thing to win in any Souls game, and probably one of the most difficult things in gaming in general. Take a second to think about all the advantages the host team has over invaders. Every single fight is going to be a 2v1 or a 3v1 in favor of the host. The host will never have to fight alone. He will always have phantoms, probably over-leveled to cover his mistakes. On top of that, there's an infinite army of blues to replenish the ranks anytime the host loses a phantom. Thanks Miyazaki. On top of all that, the host has got double heals and a rune arc. When you lay it all out like that, it's almost like there's no excuse for the host team to lose ever. With all those safety nets and advantages, the invader should lose 100% of the time, right? That right there is the reason why invasions are so fun and satisfying. It's winning that fight that you're really not supposed to win. The fight that is so egregiously unfairly rigged against you. It's the most satisfying win you can get in all of gaming, because you have to be 5 or 10 times better than everybody else in the fight to even hope of victory. There is a pretty big aura aspect here as well. Winning a fight against 3 players when you're one person is a pretty big flex on its own, right? But add in the fact that the game literally wants you to lose. It is rigging the fight against you at every turn. If you still manage to win that fight, that is the ultimate assertion of dominance. You can't really get that feeling anywhere else in all of gaming. Now there is a pretty big role-playing aspect to this as well. Most game developers are too chicken to let the player become the villain. The modern audience is too soft for that, I guess. But not FromSoftware. FromSoftware will allow you to be the villain, and the biggest and most cool and dynamic villain role you can play in all of gaming is Invader. As the invader, you're definitely playing for the evil team. The whole point of the invader is to become an obstacle in the level, a difficulty wildcard, you could say, in response to summoning. Summoning in cooperation is the sneaky easy mode that Miyazaki puts in his games for people that need help. He doesn't make you feel bad for playing it. He doesn't tell you that it's easy mode, but it is easy mode nonetheless. So much so that a lot of the PvE cannot reliably handle more than one player, so they've got to throw a sentient enemy into the mix. You know, a difficulty wildcard, like I said. That's what invaders are for. We're supposed to make progression more difficult. Not necessarily stop it forever, but do everything we can to make it difficult. Another aspect that draws a lot of players into invasions is the fact that you can make your own build from the ground up. You can make anything you want. It can be thematic, it can be optimized, it can be a try-hard build, it can be a role-playing build, or it can just be what you think is fun. It doesn't matter, you make whatever you want and take it into combat against other players. More importantly, you test it against other players' builds. There are very few games out there that actually allow you to do something like this, and it's really cool, especially with the context of invasions where you're kind of supposed to lose. That is the ultimate test of your creation, your creativity. Now it's time to address the 5,000-pound elephant in the room. Do invaders want to make you miserable as the PvEer? Do we want to ruin your playthrough and make it unplayable? The answer is usually no, but sometimes yes. The vast majority of invaders, myself included, are invading because we think it's fun, for one of the many aspects I've mentioned in this YouTube video, or all of them. Whether or not you're having a good time as the invaded is largely irrelevant to us. We're just trying to have fun. We're not there to make you miserable, and I guess it would be great if you were having a good time, but at the same time, if you're miserable, you get no sympathy. We really just don't care. In a nutshell, the bottom line is that most invaders just want to have fun and nothing else. That being said, if our fun contradicts your fun and decreases your enjoyment of your game as the PvEer, then you're shit out of luck. We just don't care. Our fun takes precedent over yours because it is better and more sophisticated objectively. All this being said, there is a subset of invaders that actually do want to make PvEers miserable, and it's the PvEers' fault that they exist. As an invasion community, we have been forced to listen to an incredibly loud and vocal minority of the player base take every opportunity to bitch and moan and piss and shit themselves about how invasions are immoral and evil, and anybody that plays that way in these games is a scumfuck by default, all for using a game mechanic that's been around since the inception of the series. After listening to this Neanderthal lobotomite bullshit for such a long time, there is a significant number of invaders out there that have actively embraced the hate. They have become so jaded they just don't care anymore, and they've decided to hate the PvEers right back. And not just the dumb fuck PvEers, but all PvEers. These are the monsters that they created. These are the types of invaders that will do everything they possibly can to make PvEers miserable and stop playing the game. At the end of the day, I really can't fault these invaders for feeling that way, and more importantly, I can't fault them for responding that way. They have been viciously hated and stigmatized for a long time simply for enjoying a core game mechanic, because despite what these PvEers want to admit, invasions are a core mechanic of the Souls series. They're part of the identity. They've always been here, and they always will be, despite all the bitching and moaning and pissing and shitting. The shittiest part about this is I'm pretty sure it's a very loud, vocal, bitchy minority of the PvE player base that is ruining it for everyone else. These are the ones that are radicalizing invaders against the overall PvE community and making matters overall worse for everybody. It seems like the vast majority of PvEers are relatively sane. They seem to either be indifferent to invasions or actually think they're cool and are just too afraid to try them. Those are the smart ones, but the dumb ones are ruining it for everybody else and creating tension that really doesn't belong. This fuck you match is probably never gonna end. People are always gonna hate each other. The PvEers are gonna hate the invaders, and the invaders are gonna hate them in retaliation. But the overall bottom line of this YouTube video I want you to understand is that the vast majority of invaders are doing it because they think it's fun. For one reason or another, there is some variations there. Invaders are not a monolith, they are not a hive mind, despite what some PvEers may think. We all have different things we enjoy about the game, but the bottom line is, invasions are fun. Well, if you ever had any curiosity in your brain as to why invaders like invading in Souls games, now you know. I hope I made it simple enough. Also, if you're a PvEer that hates invaders, I'm really shocked that you made it through this whole YouTube video. Good on you for that, because most people are too afraid to hear the other side of an argument. Alright, that's enough yapping for today. Be sure to like and subscribe if you're cool, and dislike if you dislike it. Maybe even hit the notification bell if you want to watch the live streams. By the way, people have been telling me for a long time to make an alternative donation platform, and I finally made one. It's called Buy Me a Coffee. It is basically a more direct way to support the channel if you so choose. Keep in mind, this type of thing is only for those that have the means and want to support. If you don't have the means and you don't want to, fair enough, I'm just glad you're watching the channel, but I will link that thing below in the description just in case you want to try that out. I appreciate everything you guys do to keep my shitty channel going. It makes a way bigger difference than you think. Have a good rest of your life.